Ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, heads of state and government, dear everyone, welcome here today at Hôtel des Invalides. We had today another meeting of the heads of state and government of the 37 members of the coalition of the volunteers, with Moldova and North Macedonia joining us. 37 countries from Europe, plus Canada and our colleagues from the Indo-Pacific, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. This is the 16th meeting since our very first meeting in February 2025 in Paris and London. It is part of something new, a new phase, and has helped us broaden and speed up two things. First of all, what is happening on the ground militarily. Indeed, Ukraine has regained the initiative very broadly. It has managed to overcome a difficult winter. It is taking ground again, and there are increasing difficulties for Russia on the military and the economic fronts. Second aspect, the negotiations. The planets are aligning to strengthen the opportunity for a robust peace. In Evian, we managed to get the allies come back together, European, Canadians, Americans. We had unanimity in the European Council in June, and that was indeed confirmed and endorsed in Ankara at the NATO meeting last week on the diagnostic, namely that time is not on the side of Russia and that it can't reach its objectives, and on the consequences we must draw, namely that we have to impose an end to combat and relaunch negotiations. So there are four conclusions I draw. First of all, we are determined to go on building our unity as allies to come to a ceasefire and a just and lasting peace. To do so, and that is my second point, we are also determined to go on supporting Ukraine today, even more and even stronger. And this summit has been an opportunity for us to speed up the whole process. There was of course, 90 billion euro loan for Ukraine and the 70 billion from Ankara, the support of the UK, and I'd like to thank the British Prime Minister. It's also true on the military side, and that is why this afternoon, together with President Zelensky, we endorsed a roadmap to implement the agreement on principle that we had found in November on bilateral cooperation. First of all, on anti-aircraft defense, with the first battery of SAMP new generation missiles, which will be delivered very soon, and also on the modernization of the Ukrainian fighters with the purchase of Rafale systems and the supporting systems, the first one being expected to fly in Ukrainian skies in 2028, 2029, and training before that. There are also new radars and additional missiles. And we have Aster 30, ADSM and SCALP that we will be supporting to manufacture these equipments in Ukraine, and a number of other confidential agreements were found. Ukraine has immediate requirements in anti-ballistic resources to start with, and indeed on the initiative of President Zelensky, we organized earlier a meeting of a number of countries, the members of the Anti-Ballistic coalition, 8 countries together with industrialists, and this will give us an opportunity to boost Ukraine's anti-ballistic missile. First of all, by giving Ukraine the ability to access what it requires to protect its skies, its civilian population, and its critical infrastructure, and also the manufacturing of under license. President Trump already mentioned it under as concerns the Patriot batteries. We've decided to do the same thing in Aster systems for the SAMP, and others have decided to agree on licensing. And we've also decided to pool our resources to bring together our expertise and develop new capacities, and that is the FREYA project, bringing together the building blocks from our eight countries, and which will speed up the whole process. In a context where Russia can see its economic vulnerability increase because, amongst other things, of the measures we've adopted up until now, we decided to make the most of this by further increasing the pressure. That's the third aspect of things we have worked on. We want to do so by increasing our sanctions and fighting against the shadow fleet. Sanctions, that is what we are supporting, this 21st packet of sanctions within the EU, which will target the banking and financial sector, the military-industrial complex, and all those who take part in the circumventing of such sanctions. And again, I'd like to thank our British colleagues for coordinating so perfectly well with the EU. Can I also welcome the decisions taken by the U.S. administration, that is to say, not granting any waivers for Russian oil and gas, and also the decisions taken on the initiative of a number of American senators. And on this note, I'd like to pay tribute to the late Senator Lindsey Graham, who was so instrumental in supporting Ukraine over the last few years and supporting the transatlantic bond. We are also fighting against the shadow fleet, and the boarding of the Deliver by the French Navy on the 1st of June was the fifth such operation since the end of 2025, and that illustrates our commitment. Can I also pay tribute to what Sweden, the UK, Spain, and others have been doing? We will go on doing so. Our Joint Chiefs of Staff have told us how and showed us how other countries can join, and we will have a meeting, a ministerial meeting in September in Paris on the topic. And lastly, we are determined to go on working on security guarantees. They are the backbone of a fair and lasting peace. You will remember that 6 months ago, on the 6th of January, the Paris Declaration, a robust security guarantees for solid and lasting peace in Ukraine, gave the countries of the coalition an opportunity to endorse a joint strategy which enshrined operational convergence in our group and with the US, who were there, focusing on a security understanding. First of all, long-term military support to the Ukrainian armed forces. Secondly, the reassurance force, the MNFU, which will be deployed at sea, in the sky, and on the ground once a ceasefire has been signed. It is a purely defensive mechanism. It is not there to monitor the ceasefire, but to illustrate our commitment to ensuring a permanent end to the hostilities, and it will conduct a number of actions to help regenerate Ukrainian forces, give reassurances, and facilitate the resumption of safe flights or safe shipping. And lastly, a number of measures to avoid any new attack by Russia and to respond to any such attack should Russia decide to undertake one. These could be military, economic, or political responses. These guarantees are not offensive, they're not escalatory, it is not an escalation. We have, and I'm pleased to say that our work has been done by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It is planning is underway. The headquarters of the MNFU is working on planning and week after week turning it into something operational and concrete. And there will be exercises in the next few months in neighboring countries. We were shown what they would be earlier. This will give us an opportunity to validate our deployment plans and show that we are ready, determined, and credible both on land, at sea, and in the skies. Can I say also that supporting Ukraine is investing in our own safety and security? Those who think that the war will stop on the Ukrainian borders if we yield to or accommodate the aggressor are wrong. History has shown us what the cost of giving up in the face of aggression is, and we shall not make that mistake again. And to our fellow Europeans, I would like to say the following, that what we are doing is not just for Europe, it is the illustration that Europe can take charge of its own security and defend its own interests, and that it can act with unity and strength and not be naive vis-à-vis Moscow's intentions. This coalition is the most concrete illustration thereof, and it is a great honor for France tomorrow to, of course, have our own unusual parade of the French armed forces, but we will have representatives of all the members of the coalition of the willing, including our Ukrainian partners, and this will illustrate our strategic awakening. Mr. President, Chancellor, Prime Minister, can I say this once again? We are fighting for the peace and security of our continent. We are and stand alongside the Ukrainian people we respect, value, and whose friendship we value. It is a great source of pride to have you beside us here today. And I'd like to thank my two colleagues for being with us today. And can I also say that this summit has given us an opportunity to make things more concrete, to speed up our support for Ukraine. This will be shown even more visibly tomorrow during the parade. Can I maybe have a quick word for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who was kind enough to join us here today. In a few days' time, he will be handing over in a spirit of continuity, but let me say how proud we are to have been able to work with him and how grateful the coalition as a whole is to him. We owe you a lot, Prime Minister. Thank you.